If you're having paranormal issues, contact us at mwghosthunters.com. From the files of the Midwest Ghost Hunters.
All right, Midwest Ghost Hunters site investigation, recorder 1.
Oh, Dustin, right there. Something just moved behind you.
Yes, it did. What the was that?
What happened?
Something touched my ear, man.
What's that?
This is Dark Matter with Midwest Ghost Hunters.
We're at Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri, again for another episode of the podcast. Thank you for downloading this one. Last week we had some guests with us, Shanda and Carrie, talking about their paranormal experiences that they've had in Carrie's home in Battlefield, Missouri, and they had some really good stories to tell. So if you're just now, if this is like the first time you've ever listened to our podcast and you're making this the first episode, go back a week and listen to their story because they had some really interesting stuff come out of that house. And speaking of Battlefield, Missouri, we have an investigation coming up next week that we're going to be doing at a house there, and we are going to have a reporter along with us for the first time ever. We're going to have an outsider from 417 Magazine, which is a magazine that's made here in Springfield, Missouri. It's very good.
You know, I kind of wish that this reporter was coming to a place we know.
Well, yeah.
I wish they were going, and I hate to say it, but like to a place where we've...
Take him to Ashley's house?
Yeah.
Where
not necessarily.
Where we know something's going to happen.
Somewhere there's a good chance. I just hate the idea of this reporter coming along. And it's one of those nights where we're just kind of hanging out.
Well, that could happen. I mean, there's just no way to know. It's going to be a crapshoot. But he is going to come.
Keep in mind, too, most of the time, we don't know about activity until after the fact. You know, if you go back and you look at the last podcast we had done down at, several weeks ago when we were at Tyler House, we actually had commented on that. We had no activity at that place at all, and it turns out we did.
Yeah, we're going to play a few of those EVPs today. We're getting to those here in just a few. But we will come back on, we're going to be off for the holidays for, I've lost track of time, but for a little bit. We're going to be back on January 5th, and we'll bring anything that we caught on that investigation at the home in Battlefield with us whenever we do that. I did want to, because I've not really, what happened?
Nothing.
I did want to mention, by the way, a little bit of the bizarre, surreal process that was this TV shoot that I did here at Pythian Castle while you guys did this investigation, which we'll get to in a minute, because it was fucking nuts. It was bizarre. This whole castle, there were cameras everywhere. I'm talking about big-ass cameras, not just big cameras, but every corner of the castle had a GoPro. And then they followed me here with a fucking drone, a camera on a drone.
Followed you here like driving?
Yes. Not only was there a dude in the passenger seat with a big camera this far from my face, but there was another dude in the back seat with a camera, and then the producer was behind him. I had 3 motherfuckers in my car, and they didn't tell me they were going to be in my car. Luckily, it happened to be cleaned out.
No McDonald's fries laying in the floorboard?
No, there was nothing. It happened to be cleaned out. But we went for a ride. We repeated my trip to Pythian Castle. We went over into the neighborhood over there a little bit and drove back. So there was a camera dude in the passenger seat, one in the back seat, a producer also sitting next to him, and being followed by a drone.
Is this so they can document you on your way in to fight the ghost at the castle?
And then I had to repeat my trip up these stairs 9 fucking times. Yeah. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying there was a process involved here that I had never imagined. I had to walk up the stairs with a guy in front of me with a camera. I had to walk up the stairs again with a guy following behind, and then I had to do it again with the guy just getting my feet. And then
you got to get that B-roll.
But then I had to repeat the whole drive again.
Once and they'll use like 10 seconds of that.
Yeah, well, once I thought we were done, well, hell, I'm telling you, I did a good 10 hours worth of camera time that day. It was fucking nuts. But anyway, once we got back to the castle from doing the driving part, I thought we were done with that part. We had to go do it again just to get hand shots. So I had to make the whole drive again with the camera just on my hands. I don't know. It was a weird process. Melissa was here too. She was the only other person that I knew.
So what do you guys do? I mean, what can you talk about with this? I mean, is the idea that you are a ghost hunter here at the castle, or what's the idea?
Well, no, the idea was that I represented all of us because they didn't have all you guys sign a release.
Well, they didn't ask, for the record.
Yeah, we're not cool enough.
But I represented all of us, and the thing that made me the most uncomfortable was I had to do a mock podcast.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, set up in that room over there where we used to do it. They brought in a different table. They set it up in a pretty way. And then I had the stuff John gave me, like that mic arm. That mic wasn't even plugged in. I just had the cord like under my leg. But I had to do a mock podcast with 9 people standing there watching. It was weird. They told me a week before, we want you to do a mock podcast. We think it would be cool to show, a little bit of. I said, well, I don't do a podcast by myself. 4 or 5 other people that come in. I don't even have the equipment to set it up. I said, do you want John to come and he can set the stuff up? They're like, no, just bring a mic and we'll just make it look like the podcast. It was being here for 12 hours doing the same thing. They'd have me walk into the room. Okay, well, I want you to walk into this room, kind of look around and put your hand on this chair and look around. And I had to do that 9 times.
Yeah. That's TV, man. I mean, that's the way the television works.
I'm telling you, I know we all want a TV show, and that would be cool. But I'm telling you, this kind of produced TV show, that was fucking work all day long.
Oh, they are. I mean, you'll go out and you can spend, if you're making a 30-second video, it's easy to spend 7 or 8 hours doing a 30-second video, particularly if you're doing those little nuances. Most people don't even pay any attention to that. I mean, they do, but they don't realize it. They don't realize how many times that the camera angle will switch from a drone on the top of the car to a shot of your hands turning to
the magic of a highly produced film like that happens in editing.
They were editing it in the corner as we did it. Sitting there were 3 dudes sitting here with computers, sitting there editing this stuff together as we did it. And then I sat in this room over here in a chair with all the lights on it. I told stories in that chair for 2 hours.
What are some of the stories that you told?
I told the story about Tyler hearing the people coming down the stairs. I told the story about us seeing the shadow down in the tunnel. And then we went to the tunnel and went to that exact spot. And I had to retell the whole story in the tunnel. And they had to film me walking in and out of the tunnel 15 times. And then I also told the story about being touched over there during the podcast. And I provided them with that podcast audio of the actual podcast.
You mean the phalanges?
Yeah.
Cold phalanges?
Yeah. And then I just told them, the other little things we saw, including the chandelier swinging. We've heard.
Did you talk about the chair rocking with you and I?
Yes, I did. That was one of the main ones. They had this thing set up where it like builds. They start with the little stories and it builds up to the bigger ones. And that was one of the ones they wanted to focus on, was the chair moving. So I did tell that one.
Did Melissa have some stories? Was she on too, telling some stories too?
Yeah, it was just me and Melissa really that day doing all the stuff on camera. So yeah, we told a bunch. And we'll let you know when that show comes out, because it's all about Pythian Castle, the whole thing. That whole episode is nothing but Pythian Castle. They didn't try to make it demony, but they would, well, I don't want to say that. Try to embellish a little to the point where I wasn't comfortable.
Well, that's what shows.
So I kept it on the straight and narrow as to what exactly happened. But I don't know. It was much more work than I dreamed it would be. But while I was doing that, you guys went ahead and did a podcast.
Yeah, we went to the Thai house. We were down there, and I thought it was really, really interesting because there was an EVP that hits literally before we even started, and then there's the one that says them right there.
I wasn't there, so I don't know the chronology of these.
So just for some backstory, this is the house, in case anybody missed it. This is the house that Tyler and I and Hunter grew up in. And we've had some weird things happen there over the years, but we've never set up a recorder. So
I mean, really, the reason you guys went there is because we had the castle locked down that day for the filming.
Right. Yeah. They didn't want the other guys around.
Well, it's not that. I would have loved to have the other guys around. I think it would have been much more compelling that way. But anyway, that's why you guys did the podcast from this house. And you did get a few EVPs. We were going to run through those. I can't set these up. I wasn't there.
There's one of them that should say like full EVP or something like that. Full intro.
Yeah, I've got that one. You want to start there?
Yeah, go ahead and play that one.
Okay, let's go ahead and pull that one up.
Midwest Ghost Hunters live today.
Did you hear that? Hold on.
What was that? What was that?
I think.
Okay, there's actually 2 things that happen here. Number one, just before we start, before I jump in with Midwest Ghost Hunters, you're going to hear something. I don't even know what it is, but there's something there. And then after that, we're kind of pausing around, and then you hear this unknown male voice that's there that comes in, who I think he says, them. Midwest Ghost Hunters live today.
Did you hear that? Hold on.
What was that? What was that?
I think.
I increased the audio so you could hear the them.
I hear something there.
There's
We should point out real quick
Yeah, there's another tour here.
that they're during a tour here. So anything we hear, at this point is just going to be people. Or at least we're going to attribute it to people because there are people in the castle today.
There's something on that, though, if you listen back again.
So what is the one you have separate that's called them? Is that something different?
No, it's just it only focuses on the them.
Well,
That's what I was going to say. It's I listen. This is the ones you sent us.
Yes.
let me pull up the one of it separated and see what we got.
West Coast Hunters live today.
Did you hear that? Hold on.
What was that?
I don't know.
And that's the only thing it said was them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Tyler was heard this right off the bat. I'll give him credit for that. It took me a couple listens.
He heard that right off the bat? That's surprising because it took me a couple.
Yeah, I don't really care to hear it again.
See, it doesn't freak me out as much.
Oh, well, that's true. Well, let's go ahead and keep running through them here. This one is a distant EVP after Tide does Ghost. What is it? After Tide does Ghost?
I think Tyler was making fun of the ghost.
Okay, well, let's play it and see.
Woo! All right, you guys ready?
Okay, let me do it. Let me do it again.
Woo! All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, I heard
It's
something.
that distant voice, and I don't know what it is.
It sounds like it's saying, ooh.
I don't know. Is it making fun of him? That would be pretty funny if it was. That would be a true Thai ghost.
Okay, here is a yes. You remember that one? Let's go ahead and play it.
There was lynchings that took place in the town square of Springfield, unfortunately, because
That's true, but that's also true of a lot of towns.
Yeah,
That's
it
not
is.
unique
That's
to
true.
Springfield,
Yes.
unfortunately.
it's just famous because of like the Wild Bill hiccup
Yes.
thing and the whole Wild Bill thing. And I remember hearing about that before.
Was it right there?
Yeah.
Fuck was that?
I don't know. Was that?
It sounded like yeah.
Yeah. Let me go to that spot as best I can.
Because of like the Wild Bill hiccup
Yes.
thing and the whole Wild Bill thing. And I remember hearing about that before.
I don't know. What was that?
Somebody's a fan of Wild Bill Hiccup.
Here's another. This is the third one that says them. Is this a different?
I don't know.
Let's just play it and see.
Midwest Coast Hunters live today.
Did you hear that? Hold on.
What was that?
It's still weird to me because I can't hear it on the original until let me one more time.
I can't hear that.
I can hear it whenever you play it at the end.
I don't know where that is in the original. Is what I
On the original, there is the one that's called them. I've cut out I've cut it.
But the intro's still there.
Yeah.
So like when does the them happen?
The them
Yeah.
is when the audio gets louder.
Oh, it actually happens right there?
Yeah.
I thought you had stuck it on the end.
Yeah. See, I
No.
Oh,
So we just get quiet and then it happens?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, so
Yeah, and I just turned up the volume to hear because you could
I
hear
thought
this.
you
I thought it was.
isolated
That's
it.
what I
You
thought.
could hear this thing that it's way back here in the back like this, and I just turned up the them.
I thought you had isolated it and stuck it on the
Because
end.
we
I
all
did
get
not.
quiet at a strange time.
I know.
The
That's what
reason
I thought.
behind it is because of the first EVP that we heard.
Okay, let me do it again with that in mind because I was trying to hear it while you were talking.
Yeah, welcome to Midwest Coast. I like that part.
But it happens after. Okay, got it. Let me do it again.
Midwest Coast Hunters live today.
Did you hear that? Hold on.
What was that?
So what you guys said, did you hear that? What was it? I thought you were referring to that.
No, we were referring to the very first EVP or
So there's
whatever.
two in there.
Yeah, there's two of them. So
Oh.
really, you could say that it's answering your question. It's
Oh, that's it. That makes it even stranger.
where you said, "What was that?" and they say them.
I mean, that's a voice that I don't recognize it in any of us.
Yep.
Damn it.
Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next one here. This is behind Dustin.
Missouri was a very strange state in the Civil War, right? So we kind of had one foot on both sides of
Okay, let me
There
do
was
it again.
something there.
Yeah, let me do it again.
Missouri was a very strange state in the Civil War, right? So we kind of had one foot on both sides of
Yeah, I heard like a whine or something.
There's something there. I can't say what it is.
Can't say for sure. So yeah, the them there would definitely be the standout.
There wasn't a lot of EVPs from there.
Well, there shouldn't have been any.
Maybe 3 or 4. I mean, it was kind of a low week on EVPs, but we didn't think there was any. As a matter of fact, on that podcast, we had talked about the fact that there was no activity at the house.
Yeah.
Them comes flying up out of nowhere.
So we got this investigation coming up. We should probably talk a little bit about it, meaning some of her claims that she's made. One of them is she has cameras inside her house. Why do people have cameras inside? Is it to watch the pets when they're, I'm just asking. I'm not saying.
So like I have a camera inside the house because it can watch my son in the crib.
Okay.
Like,
Well, that's a baby monitor though.
Well, we're using it as a baby monitor, but it is just a wise security camera.
It's more common.
It has motion detection on it. So if he's in his crib and starts moving around, I get a text message, I get an alert that says that. But I also have one in the office for the pets just to watch, and of course, like the outside of the house is covered.
Right. That's more common than you think it is.
Oh, I know it's common. I'm not questioning. I was just curious what exactly with the baby it makes sense. I mean, why?
But if you're not home and you have cameras on the inside of your house and you have an intruder, you would get a motion alert and you would know about it instantly.
That's true. Well, she has them. She has them inside her house, and I sent you guys the still frame of that picture.
You're gonna have to remind me. I don't.
Well, she's caught it multiple times. It is a kid. It is a kid walking through the living room.
But that's so clearly a child.
But they don't have kids. It's just her and her husband who live there.
Are they sure?
This. Yeah, I sent it to everybody. It may have been when your phone was jacked up.
Did you hear me?
What?
Are they sure? Because that was clearly a child.
They're sure. Yeah, they're sure 100% that they don't have kids.
I mean, it's not like that might be a kid. I mean, that's a human child.
Oh, that's a kid.
But they've caught that several. But here's the deal: they also have.
It's wearing clothes.
They also have.
That's wild.
They also have something on their door, like an alarm, that never goes off. Nobody came in the house.
Is there video with that?
Yes, there's a video. That's the
so
still
there's a
shot
light
of the
source.
video. I have the video.
There's a light source here.
Can I see the video?
And the child's even casting a shadow.
I know.
If you look at the video of that, though, it's very, very fast.
Yeah,
it's not nice slow video of a. Its video is super fast. It's like this thing just goes streaking across the screen.
Well, that's weird.
Well,
and
that's just the stopped version of what's on there.
Could that have been lag from a low quality Wi-Fi camera?
I ran it through like a heat. You can see the heat sources there.
Where's the video?
How'd you do that?
It's an app.
Was it a camera that was capable of detecting heat sources though?
The camera wasn't. No, the app attempts to detect, the warmest spots of the camera. I think this is the no, that's the wrong. I have the video. I've got this video that she also sent too of her dog playing with some.
The video of the kid is not a crystal clear video of a kid walking around. The video is something moving incredibly fast.
I mean, she sent a video of her dog playing with this little light anomaly thing in the middle of the night.
Like the video,
2 in the morning.
I want to say the video of the kid is moving very, very fast.
But anyway, they've caught that before. It does look like a kid. It looks like he's wearing, or he or she is just wearing, like, you can see clothes and a shadow, but nobody came into the house. You can see the timestamp on there. It was the middle of the night. So it doesn't really make sense. And they've had lots of stuff inside the house happening too. This is a very active place. I mean, it's very active. They've had, they've seen things moved. She sent me a video of something moving on the table. They've seen the shadow, walking around the house. They've heard the voices. They've got a lot of stuff happening. So there is potential for a lot of activity there. I kind of hope there is, because we're going to have...
So did you say there was like security on the door?
The doors never opened to the house
because there's like a security thing. Like, will it beep when they do
something?
Open?
Yes, I can't remember. I'd have to go back through her messages. She sent them. I may actually have it on text.
Because if that video really was like like if it was just like a streak, and then you can freeze it and get that clear frame of a child walking, casting a shadow. If that's all like true, that's one of the best.
I mean, there's a zoom.
That's one of the best photo evidence. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. That's not pareidolia.
No, that's a
human.
And then there's even a still shot of their security system saying "person detected."
Oh yeah, because there's a person there.
Yeah.
By all accounts, it looks like one. That's creepy.
Now, if you listened last week, you would have heard that our guests that we had last week the home they were referencing was in Battlefield, Missouri as well. It's going to be interesting to see if this one, I can't even think how big Battlefield is. It's not that big.
No, it's not. Not that huge.
If this house is anywhere near where the activity they were talking about that apparently occupied the whole street.
I mean, last time I went to Battlefield, it was essentially just neighborhoods.
It's been so long since I've been there. I can't even.
Right? I mean, is there
There's
basically all the stores and all of like the commercial
everything is
stuff
on one main
is in
drag.
Springfield. Isn't
Well,
it?
yeah, but they've got like a gas station. There's like a pizza place there, and there's some things that are there, but it's all along the main drag, including City Hall and all that stuff's on the main drag, and then the rest of the town is just made up of neighborhoods.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, I hope we have some good activity there because we're going to have the guy from 417 Magazine with us, and I know he's never been on one of these before. I think he's actually from the UK. He's never been on one of these before and is kind of trying to prep himself for what may happen.
The thing is, it may be nothing.
It could be, but I just hope, that he gets to a sense of what it can be. So we'll see. I don't know. We're going to do that investigation here coming up in the next week or so. And then when we come back on January 5th, because we're going to all be scattered about for a bit during the holidays. When we come back have you guys met the new dog?
Oh, I have. Yeah. I've met the new dog.
I forgot.
We've met.
I forgot about that. Did you even hear about that happening, Dustin? When we were doing the podcast several weeks ago.
Is this when I was up north?
Yeah, you were squatching.
I was squatching.
In the middle of the podcast, John's like, whoa, wait a minute. We thought he heard something or something. He felt something or something. He's like, do you guys still hear the podcast? We're like, yeah, we can still hear it. And he pulled his headphone wire up and it was severed directly in half.
The puppy ate my
This
headphones.
damn little dog, which had been sneaking in and out. He's a little puppy, but had managed somehow to chew John's headphone wire clean right in half.
I mean, he literally severed it.
So that being said, anytime we do the podcast here, we've either got to keep the door closed, you got to keep an eye out for that dog coming in because he will chew shit. I don't remember his name, but he's a little guy. Little dog, little puppy. But when we come back, we'll have any evidence that we did catch at this house in Battlefield.
Or a really embarrassing story of how a reporter came and we found nothing.
I tell you a good one to have taken the reporter on, other than Willard, the obvious one. I'll tell you a good one to have had a reporter with us would have been Mars Hill. Absolutely.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. Fantastic.
Could have shown him some Midwestern hospitality.
That would have morphed into like this whole other documentary.
Yeah. I mean,
it wouldn't have been about ghosts at the end of it.
We could have showed him how things happen on this side of the pond.
It would have been about, especially if the guy's from the UK.
Yeah.
Talk about culture shock.
That would have been an awesome printed story. Is the Mars Hill?
That's such a strange night with the Starlink thing and like saw the satellite. And
the Starlink thing is the weird.
That was the normal part.
I know, but the not normal part. The funny part is me telling the guy about it and him like not even looking up and just going, huh.
The funniest part in retrospect, now at the time it wasn't fucking funny at all, but the funniest part in retrospect was
you knocking down the tombstone.
No, was us all gathered around one of the cars with some hillbilly blocking our exit, trying to figure out who's drawing the short straw here, who's going to go talk to this
There was no
motherfucker.
Conversation. Nobody was moving.
Well, we were attempting to do it by way of silence.
Well, we did it.
Hoping, who's going to be the first one to the salad bar.
Who was it?
It was you.
For the record.
And you're throwing your hands.
Please don't shoot me.
But if there had to be a reporter on an investigation,
that's
and we
the one.
Get him into Willard.
No, that's the one.
That's the one.
In fact, I'd rather them go there than Willard
because I can just imagine this article being, and then chaos broke out. Motherfuckers running everywhere.
Started as a ghost adventure, ended with deliverance.
I think I was probably the least panicked guy, and it's not that I was being super brave. It's just the fact that I realized I had so much crap scattered
You were winding
all
wires
over.
around your arm pretty quick.
But I think I was the least panicked, and the reason behind it is because I realized there was just no way. There's no way I could gather all of that stuff and get out of there that fast.
Yeah.
He hit that tombstone hard.
I know.
We were both jogging.
Well, you were what was that?
What was that? That thing.
We heard it. Got a head rush.
Anyway, we were both jogging.
Well, you were running because I asked Hunter. I was like, "Where's Tyler?" And then I looked up there, and you're running. It looked like to me running, so I ran as well.
Tyler, it'd be just like Tyler to.
What happened?
Ooh, did you hear that?
Yeah. It was.
Is that what it sounded like?
I didn't hear that. I heard something. It was like it was a weird.
We were jogging. Chris is with me, and then I hear, and he's not.
I was using the light on my fucking phone.
Just a meaty thud.
I forgot about
I I was using the flashlight on my iPhone.
The meaty thud of a tibia hitting a tombstone.
I can just
It hurt.
I can just imagine like a movie with that where it's like a camera is like panning and following you guys, and then like Chris hits it, and then it just keeps following Tyler.
Well, it was one of
You're gone.
Where are you going?
It was one of those things where when we arrived there in the daytime, I remember telling Hunter this. I'll take the hit on it. I remember I put all my shit by this one tombstone, but this one headstone that in my mind I thought, well, I'll remember. It's this headstone that looks like this. But once the hillbillies descended,
And it's pitch black.
you can't find shit.
That was bizarre too, because you went up to talk to him, and there's the big, beautiful display of the Starlink satellites behind us, and the pitch black rural Missouri sky with the Milky Way and everything.
It was a 100-degree August night.
And this hillbilly sitting in his truck with his arm up on his window, and he says, "Oh, you see those satellites back there?" And he just,
See, and at this point, it was like seeing a shooting star to see Starlink. I mean, you didn't see it very often.
See, we're laughing about it, but that really was one of the most terrifying experiences of my
It
life.
I'll
was.
tell you the
I
scariest-
thought we were going to get shot that
Because
night.
we're not even mentioning the part that he had a friend with him who was
That's what I was
blocking
going
our
to say.
exit.
Well, no, the scary thing was someone in another car drove slowly through the fucking cemetery.
Yeah.
And they said they didn't know each other.
And they said they didn't know each other.
Right. They
and
didn't
then
know
when
each
we're
other.
leaving, they're giving each other hand signals out their window.
Yeah, they knew
like
each
Navy
other.
SEAls.
And then they followed each other down the same damn dirt road that can't lead to more than two houses.
Like hillbilly Navy SEAL shit. Actually terrifying. It's scary. It's the scariest experience I've ever had hunting ghosts.
But I've thought about this, and what we could do is if we went back down there, we could go back down there in the middle of the day, sometime in the middle of the day, and just take a bunch of portable recorders, only portable recorders.
I remember we were all standing in a circle and we were like, well, somebody's got to go talk to him. And then it was just fucking silence. I was like, yeah, somebody does.
But if we put portable recorders out there in the middle of the day, you could get something.
Do you remember he asked me to? He asked me my name?
He asked you if you dated his daughter or
No,
something,
he didn't
right?
ask me if I did. He told me I did. He informed me that I had
upon your
taken his
name.
daughter to prom.
Yeah. Did you say, what did you say to that? I don't remember.
I was like, oh, really? But I've taken two girls to prom when I was in high school.
And you know both their
and
fathers.
both of their fathers was not that hillbilly sitting in that car. So they're full of shit. He's full of shit. Such a wild story, dude.
The only reason we're even talking about it, we didn't plan on talking about it at all. I love talking about it because it was fucking, in retrospect, hilarious. Yes, in retrospect.
Any hillbilly that's listening that wants to come and hang out with us while we're out doing investigations, next time we go to Mars Hill, I'm bringing my gun. I'm just going to make that known now.
When he asked us what we're doing.
Yeah, what
and
you
then
doing?
And then you told him, and he said, y'all are hunting for ghosts?
Yeah. You told him we had like a YouTube channel or
I
something.
did, because I thought podcasts would be outside of his breadth of knowledge. I'd have to then explain what a podcast was.
That makes sense.
And I thought maybe this guy knows what YouTube is.
What kind of pods are you casting?
After that investigation of Mars Hill, we all thought, man, that was a bust. But it wasn't.
What do you mean it wasn't a bust?
It wasn't a bust
Did
at
we
all.
catch stuff?
No, we didn't catch shit. But
was still
as far as having an amazing podcast story to tell, that was it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. Fun is not the word. It wasn't fun for me.
Well, it
because I
wasn't-
thought for sure.
In retrospect,
I thought for sure I was going to get a gun pointed at me. And I had this whole thing played out in my head because I was like, okay, they blocked our exit. They're going to kill us, obviously. And then they're going to take all of our stuff.
you were worried about our stuff.
Well, I was thinking of motive. Why
Oh,
would
yeah.
you do this?
Yeah, yeah.
And I told him we were YouTubers. So he's probably like, oh, that camera. I bet you I could get that. I'd get a couple $100 out of the pawn store with that camera.
Well, I mean, our biggest, and I don't know how you do it any different, but our biggest mistake was having to shut our lights down when we saw a car coming.
Yeah, because you know how like sketchy that would look.
I'm the motherfucker who jacked it up. It was my light.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
It was my light that they saw.
Like banging on it, like shut it off.
Yeah, because that's when the brake lights came on and they came back.
Yeah.
Is when my light was still on.
Yeah, they tell us they were just checking things out.
So basically, we didn't know how to go about getting permission for this fucking place.
You don't need permission. It's public.
Well, is it public all night? I don't think so. I mean,
I think you need to have somebody that those guys down there are going to recognize as
Maybe informally, but as far as the law goes, I'm pretty sure we weren't breaking any rules.
No,
Oh,
we,
no,
we
I don't
weren't
think
breaking
so.
any laws
Yeah.
with it. But I'm just talking about to avoid the good old boy police
So
squad.
I got to
from
show up
landing
at
on
the
top of you.
at the
It needs-
hillbilly town hall and ask.
Well, I think
I tried.
If they pulled in down there and they saw Jimbo, who everybody knows that's Jimbo over there, so it's okay. I think that's the sort of thing you're going to need.
Well, I tried because I managed to find the board of directors for the Mars Hill Cemetery, and I emailed every one of them. There were 4 of them. I emailed every one of them, and nobody ever responded. So we kind of just went with, because you and me and Ty had been there before, there was no problem.
Right. Yeah. Correct.
Except for the guy, rolled up blasting flow rider and was probably, I don't know what he was doing out there.
Yeah, but what you could do though, the difference between what I mean, you can't roll in that many people over there, but you could slide in with a couple of people there and a few recorders that are portable.
I would have loved to have had an aerial shot of everybody scattering. Just running because there was all 4 of us, 4, 5, 6. There were like 8 of us there.
Yeah. More people than my wife went.
Yeah. And I know Bobby was there and Hunter was there.
Andrew?
No, he didn't. He wasn't able to go. But there were like 8 of us there, and it was just mass chaos for a little bit. And the only reason we're talking about it at all is because we have the 417 magazine guy coming with us to this next investigation, and I think it would have been good for him to go to that one. There were spiders too, spiders and hillbillies.
Yeah, but like the spiders is like my least worry.
Well, that was my main worry up until
100% my main concern until Jethro showed up.
Jeff.
we don't have Jack on the website from that investigation because there's nothing to put.
Really funny story though, from start to end.
Did we have any recordings that didn't necessarily have anything paranormal on it, but that were funny? Like me telling you 20 times to turn your light off?
Yeah, I've heard it. That
had
exists. That exists for sure. I've heard it.
Because I know I started calmly.
It was like, kill your light, kill your light.
I said, hey, there's a car coming. Guys, kill your lights. And then 10 seconds passed. I kill your light. There's a car coming. Chris, car. Kill your light. Kill your light.
He's pulling in.
I'm shining it around the sky.
SOS.
We'll kind of see what comes of the guy that's coming with us to our next investigation. Hell, who knows what? You never know what's going to happen on these
And it
things.
was really funny. I hate to go back to this. I just keep thinking about it. Is like as chaos is ensuing, right? And we are all scattering around like just like cockroaches in light. I remember looking a couple times at John, and he's just still picking up his gear.
Yeah.
And he's wrapping cords.
Yep. I'm like, I know we got to get the hell out of here.
And he's going so fast. Like,
Well, even when the guys like pulled away and left, that's when we really hit it in high gear.
well, I expected them to come back.
That's what I thought. It's like we got to get the fuck out of here before
Just
they're
because
back.
I knew he was lying. Like, there's a couple things he said, and I forgot, like, one of the things was even weirder, and I don't remember what it was. But I remember just red flags in my brain the whole time I was talking to this guy. And when I said, well, you can tell your friend there that we mean no harm. And he goes, oh, I don't know him.
Bullshit.
And I was like, you lying sack of shit. You just pulled in right after each other.
And I didn't get to see the guy you talked to. All I could see was his arm. I didn't get to see it, but in my mind, I'm picturing Waylon Jennings.
Picture a hillbilly, and that's what it looked like.
Did you eventually walk up to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody eventually came to check and make sure I wasn't
I
being held at
didn't get
gunpoint.
I saw his
within
face.
100 yards of you.
We were ready to swing into action if something happened.
I saw his face. He looked like every other. Well,
You're ready to swing it back. You mean you would have picked up my body and carried it with you?
I remember at one point talking to Hunter, and Hunter couldn't verify this because we talked about it on the podcast right after we did this investigation. I remember talking to Hunter about if we have to, we could just go running across that field
yeah, we could.
the other way. And he's like, well, where would that go? I was like, I don't fucking know, but not here.
Not here.
Can you imagine us all running through the hills?
We take our shoes off and throw them and just start.
God, what a thing. But anyway, the point is you never know what's going to happen on these things. It can be something absurd like that. It could be, a heavy amount of paranormal activity, or it could just be boring as hell. We'll find out. There's no way to know. But anyway, we'll bring that back on January 5th. We don't really have anything. Hopefully that'll bring a lot. And hopefully January 5th will be a stellar beginning of the year podcast for us. Do you realize we've been coming here for 3 years?
That's insane.
To Pythian?
Yeah, I didn't realize it'd been that long until he was.
That's
till
crazy.
we were looking back.
We were looking for that one podcast. And I remember looking back and I was like, my God, this is 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
Weren't we coming here in 2020?
No.
No, that would have been like
We were at the
5 years
radio
old.
station.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was listening through trying to find that one podcast for the TV show, I listened to the first one again for about 5 minutes. That first podcast where it sounded like we were on the roof of Pythian Castle and our equipment was in this room.
Is it still accessible?
Yes.
Terrible.
It's still there.
It's terrible.
It's fucking terrible. And then we had the owner of Pythian Castle on with us.
Yeah.
Tamara's on with us, telling, drumming up, people to come
Well,
on.
she's on, but
You can't hear shit.
Was I there for that one?
I think it was just me and John and Dustin. Wasn't it just the three of us? Or yeah, it was. It was just the three of us. Yeah, you should go back and listen. You want to hear the equivalent of the dog shit you scrape off your shoe? That's episode 1.
I really want to go back and hear the ones from the radio station too.
John has those.
I've got them.
We need to make those accessible.
I know, because there's audio in there I need to pull off that I don't have anymore.
I've given you the audio.
Yeah, I think I have it. I know I do, actually, because I ran across it. I was sorting things by file size. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I pulled it up, and that's what it was. We'll be back on January 5th. We will have any evidence that we collect at this home in Battlefield, Missouri, where the reporter is coming with us. There may be some good stories to tell out of there. We'll see. But anyway.
Wait. Don't close yet.
What?
You had a question, didn't you?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I did. I'm glad you mentioned that. His specific question was, his name is Matt. I'm having trouble finding what software to use for my EVPs. What's the best program to use for them? I didn't have an answer.
Is he talking? I wonder. Okay, so if he's talking about like recording, my recommendation would obviously be a handheld recorder of some kind, or even an
And
iPhone.
just the driver that comes with it, right?
Yeah, that's what I would use. But if you're talking about editing software on like a computer, I always use digital audio workstations because they're easier.
I would just recommend you record them to an SD card, any number of the digital recorders that are out there. I use Tascam, and I also use Zoom. Zoom makes a bunch of good ones too, so it just depends. We use both of those. If you're talking about audio software, there's a billion different programs that will do it.
If you're looking for software, there's a lot of free ones. I've used Audacity.
A lot of people like Audacity. A lot of people like that.
WavePad is pretty good.
I use Adobe Audition, but that's a paid deal, and it kind of goes up all the time.
I've used Logic Pro in the past. If you have a iPhone or a Mac, you can use GarageBand. It's not all encompassing.
It's a good question. I didn't know whether I assumed he meant to play them back and enhance, but he may have meant to record. I don't know which he meant.
If you're looking for audio software, there's a bunch of audio software out there that's free and does a pretty good job with it. I've never heard of anybody that didn't like Audacity. I've never heard anybody say that they didn't like that.
Reaper too is good. It's free.
Yep.
We're going to be gone until January 5th, and then we'll be back. Hopefully have some evidence from Battlefield, Missouri.
More Dark Matter after the new year with Midwest Ghost Hunters from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri.